Fake Goodwin here, and eventually we will. As a former aspiring screenwriter, there's nothing that speaks to me more than interesting characters, a strong narrative, and a different perspective. With that said, comment down below. Let's review Stargirl Season 1, Episode 2, starring Luke Wilson, Brett Basinger, I think I pronounced that right, and Amy Smart. So, the introduction, Episode 1, was pretty great, well-rounded all the way around. And it kind of had a cliffhanger ending that led into this one pretty well. So the log line on this one is, after Courtney has an unexpected, and this is from IMDb, the log line, after Courtney has an unexpected run-in with a member of the Injustice Society of America, Pat reveals the truth to her about their history. Meanwhile, Barbara is elated when she sees Courtney making an attempt to get along with Pat, not knowing that the secret they've been keeping. Finally, things take a dangerous turn at Blue Valley High's open house night when Courtney becomes the target of a dangerous foe. Now, normally, I'm not going to break this down scene by scene or whatever. I'm just going to tell you what I thought of it. So, the best aspects of this episode for me, the visual effects, acting, narrative, continue to amp up the show. It looks like it's going to maintain a quality that CW shows don't have. And in this one, Stargirl dons her costume. It's interesting to see how she goes about it, too. The humor is pretty decent still. Some of the jokes fall flat for me, but some of them are, pretty charming, are slightly funny, not over the top, just like slapstick humor. But other than that, Brainwave has proven to be quite an intimidating, menacing, really powerful villain. The tensions between him and his son, the strained father-son relationship, is something you can really pay off on in a big way by having him go the opposite direction and become a hero, paying respects to the source material. His son's fear of his own father is really compelling to see on screen. So the acting was really good, and because you could feel the tensions. But Pat donning the suit of armor and continue to work on it throughout the episode, giving him realistic trial and errors with the suit, really pays off in character building and giving us heroes that aren't just flat out overpowered from the start. We see him take somewhat of an interest in getting in shape. Everything he's doing, it's in the interest of protecting Courtney, stopping the villains, and avenging the JSA. But he knows when he knows when to hit the brakes, and knows they're out of their league. But he wants to keep the family safe and be more than just a sidekick. He wants to avenge his friends and all that. But Courtney wants to live up to what she thinks is her father's heroic footsteps. It's unclear if they're going to take a different turn than the comics. She clearly wants to avenge more than get justice for the death of Starman, who may or may not be her father in the show. They haven't really had a chance to, it is a departure if he is her father, but they have a chance to really crush her enthusiasm for this hero role later in the show if they give her a real hero's dilemma by staying true to the source material and not having him turn out to be her father, but worse, have her father actually turn out to be a villain. So Stargirl, it continues to be a female-led, it continues to be a show led by a female that doesn't bash its male audience. It doesn't bash its male counterparts and glorify her gender. When Pat is feeling useless from an underperforming battle, Courtney expresses how she couldn't have done it without him. And it was really reassuring for the character. It was really a nice thing to do, though the way things played out in the show, she probably could have done it with it. She probably would have easily done it without him. But, it's just nice that she's giving him that encouragement instead of bashing him. So, while I am disappointed that Pat hasn't really done much that's effective in battle, it is Stargirl's show. She is the lead. And it's also pretty realistic for his suit to have these kind of performance problems this early in. And with a villain as incredibly powerful as Brainwave due to his power set, Pat will probably fare better against other villains in the show as he clocks in more field time and irons out those wrinkles. Each episode we're getting more backstory, and it's pretty intriguing. I'm interested to see how accurate they are, though I'm not the most well versed in this Stargirl and the Justice Society. I know enough to recognize some of the departures. The Injustice Society is getting the gang back together after this episode. That was really cool to see, and it's going to be interesting to see how Courtney and Pat manage against them while still being rookies in the field. These individuals killed veterans. So we get another brief glimpse at Grundy. That was pretty cool. It's interesting that all these villains have, for the most part, settled down after defeating the heroes. Some have settled into life more than others, and it might lead to some double crossing. I'm curious to see how the other heroes are actually going to come into play and be introduced. Like I said, there is a lot of departures from the source material, but I don't know them all, only some. In my opinion, it looks like a pretty respectful adaptation. Overall, I kind of like Pat more than Courtney. Courtney is really not taking the hint to back off. She doesn't really know when to pump the brakes as Pat does. So I'm really liking Pat more than Courtney. However, Courtney is still pretty likable, but not as likable as Pat. And it could just be because the actor he's portrayed by. But overall, I can't say too much negative about this episode, except for putting down Brainwave, introducing a villain that powerful in the first place, and then putting him down this early. It could lead to, some lackluster episodes. I'm curious to see how they fare against the rest of the villains and all that. But overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 because I think, that was probably too powerful of a villain to defeat that early into this. Because Courtney, it wasn't like she just outright whooped him. No, her and Pat almost got defeated completely. It was disappointing that Pat didn't do better in that battle. But now that Brainwave's out of the way and the band is back together, Icicle's back in town, and it also kind of enlightened us just a little bit more about the mystery of why everybody's so oddly friendly in this town, and that they are in control of this town and the new America thing. While they've been living this normal life, they also have this agenda that they've been working on slowly over time. So it's pretty good all around, but 7 out of 10 for me. What'd you think about it? Did you like it? What didn't you like about it? What did you like about it most? Do you favor Pat over Courtney? What are you interested in seeing as we move forward? I'm curious to see everybody's opinions and thoughts on this one. 7 out of 10. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Stay awesome and rock on.